and yet such wisdom that comes forth and that is accessible. And even though, maybe not everybody grew up in the South, and yet there's that part that resonates with each person, that homespun good sense. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce Reverend Joyce C. Brown.
Thank you. Okay. We on.
You on.
So good morning again.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I won't tell you who I am then.
Come on, say it.
I am Reverend Joyce C. Brown. All the way from Clarksdale, Mississippi, by way of Santa Barbara, California, by way of Santa Cruz, by way to here. Quite a journey. Somehow, I realized that grace factored into the whole thing. We don't always understand grace. I love the definition that grace is a benevolence that God gave to all of us. So God didn't just give it to that side of the room and not this one. And God didn't just give it to someone who says they're very pious and religious, or they have special talents and gifts that only they have. No, that is not what grace is. We all have it. We just don't know it. And we are not taught that we have it. I was taught that I knew what sin was at the age of 12, but nobody told me what grace was. I was taught that by the time I was 16, I could do anything I wanted to do that constituted being an adult in Mississippi, which transferred itself to Santa Barbara, California. I was still considered connected to Mississippi. What grace is, I believe, is that quality that we have that guides us when we listen to it. You could call it that small, still voice, which would be, to me, also your soul. So I put them together for myself, and I said, grace and soul go together. That small, still voice talks to us, and we ignore it, and we wonder why something happened. The fellow who listened to the voice that said to him, slow down. That small, still voice was talking to him, and that voice wasn't shouting. That voice does not scream. That voice does not berate you. It simply says, I am here. It simply says, only say what you can. Okay, so I'm hearing the voice. Let me do this. The small, still voice tells you that when you are speaking, when you are sharing, share what you know to be true. Do not go around saying what others want to hear. That is not grace. That's mind. And you have to remember, the mind pretends to be logical. Mine does. It's very good at it. Grace is not about logic. I really do believe it is a wonderful, deep feeling that we have that is part of us that doesn't come out often because we don't listen. But when we do listen, some amazing things take place. We may, through grace, say a word or a sentence, something that someone doesn't want to hear. You didn't say it to offend someone, but it was what was to be said in that moment. So when I'm working with someone who tells me, I will never forgive this person. We're talking about some serious declarations here. And I ask the question, why would you never forgive this person when you can forgive everyone over here? And they will tell me, because that person has to tell me they're sorry for what they did. And I said, okay, and if they don't tell you they're sorry for what they did, well, I won't forgive them. So I said, then you need to be in that cycle. And when you're ready to let go of what is hurting you, what is blocking you, what is causing you to feel bad all the time, then you will let it go until such time it's yours. What grace tells me is forgive completely. Because I feel completely don't mean I forget or I forgot what was done. We have a memory that makes sure we do not. That's called mind. Also, we have an amazing brain. But when we look at this amazing part of us called soul and grace combined, we receive amazing teachings that will guide us through life. And it's not always easy. I enjoy talking about my father because he taught me some things. My father taught me grace. I didn't know he was teaching me grace, but he was. Mississippi did not teach me grace. I'm just gonna tell you. It did not. It taught me how to be strong. Wait, maybe it did teach me grace. Let me go back. What my father taught me through grace was I watched my father do some things and be himself in the face of things that I saw others could not do. I saw my father cry 3 times. The first time was when I wanted to carry a bucket of water too big and he slapped my hand. So I cried. Well, he didn't hurt me, but he shocked me, and he'd never done that. So it was a big surprise. And so I'm standing, I can see me, little Joyce C. And my father started to cry. And I said, oh my goodness. And I said to myself, I would never give him reason to cry again. And I never did. I saw my father cry when he got a message telling him that his oldest son had been murdered. And my father got up and told our mother he was going to get his gun and go kill him. This man who was walking free. This man who had backshot his son, and the police didn't think it was a big deal. And my mother talked to my father, and I saw him sit and cry. And I saw him over the days come back to this man that I recognized as my daddy. The last time I saw my father cry was when he got news that his brother Elijah, his young brother, that he knew. My father had 3 sets of siblings and only knew about him and his brother. That's a story in itself. When the message came that Elijah had passed on, I saw my father cry. And then I saw my father pull himself together and come back to this place where he was at peace and he was calm. And that to me, I'm watching grace in action, but I don't know what I'm watching. And I said later on, as I began to understand what I'm seeing in others, when the most difficult and trying times, you find this peace, this place inside of you that stops you from hurting yourself, it stops you from hurting others, it stops that anger and rage and wanting to get even, and you can come into a place of grace. And what grace does, it helps us to let go. So that's why I call it the ultimate forgiveness. Because when you're in grace, you are not hating. You're not looking for revenge. You're not looking to get even. You're not wanting someone to suffer. Again, it's not that you don't forget, but you have to find out what is your inside emotional turmoil doing to you. Because what I discovered is that those individuals that I felt had harmed me, I didn't see them suffering about it. It seemed to me they were rather enjoying it. But yet, I'm suffering about it. I had to find me in the process of coming to terms with what I believe and feel that grace is. I wanted other people to know what it was like to have injustice. Well, hello, they weren't dealing with injustice. They weren't dealing with a society that saw you as not even being human. They didn't grow up in an environment where the cattle was given a better house to live in than you. They weren't. So how can you expect for someone to understand this? That's not sensible. So I had to come back to Joyce. I didn't have the seed then. It was there, but I wasn't saying it. So when I came back to me, I discovered something very interesting. This wasn't about whoever them is. This was all about me. I was not listening to my own still voice. I was ignoring it. I want someone else to fix it, to make it right, to give me justice, to show that they cared. Well, guess what? That is not the way it usually works. I don't care how many therapeutic sessions you have, how hard you can pray, how much you can do, whatever you want to do, unless you are willing to do the work and feel and to release and to understand that you are taking charge of your life, the rest of it doesn't seem to work. That's why someone will say to you, I've been praying, it's not working. I ask, what are you praying? And they tell me, I'm praying that that person will come to me and tell me they're sorry. I hear this a lot. I said, that's okay, is that working? No. I'm praying that the world will be a better place to live in, so that there will be justice and equality. I remember that one because I did that. And I said, is that working? No. I am praying. They're always praying for something outside of themselves, but very seldom do they come inside. You have to start inside. Grace is inside. Grace is not out there. Well, she could be. But grace is not out there. You gotta come inside. And when you come inside, you find this amazing peace. And it takes time. I've been at this for a bit. I've been at this long enough to realize that sometimes I lose my grace and I just get upset.
We'll call it that.
Yeah. I was so thinking it.
We heard it.
And then I said, well, okay, Joyce, are you gonna come inside and come from your heart? Or are you gonna stay out there in your mind talking this trash about who did what and who did what? So when I came inside, I didn't shut the door, though it is a catchy little phrase, shut the door. I came inside and I left the door open because I need to be able to get in and out. So when you come inside and shut that door, you can't get out, and so you're still trapped with your stuff. And you're still gonna get into this why me, why me, why me, and I don't hear no forgiveness happening here when I do that. I had the most profound experience of forgiveness. My heart hurt when I did it. I had forgiven and forgiven and forgiven. It was an amazing thing. And then one day I heard, but you have not forgiven and let go of this one person. I said, oh. I did. And my heart hurt. There was this amazing pain that came out, and there was this amazing light that shot out, rose up and went through the ceiling. I was sitting on my bed and went through the ceiling. And from then on, I've had nothing but peace around that person. Nothing but peace. But But as long as I held on, I wanted to be able to speak in a certain kind of way, a style or rhetoric about them. But saying, well, I can talk about anything and I can talk about this, but I don't carry this. Well, I was lying. Because the words I was using were not coming from grace. They were coming from my mind wanting to intellectualize what had happened. Well, that don't work. You want to forgive? Stop using your mind. It doesn't work. So when you say, I have been praying about this and I've been forgiving about something for my life or the last 10 years, 10 minutes, whatever works for you, and you say you've been doing that, and I'm going to say to you, well, what are you thinking? Because you are not coming from grace, from soul, from heart. You're not coming from inside. You're looking outside it. And you got a list. I tell people, don't get that list. Okay? When you get a list and you start to do your list, guess what happens? It triggers it all. It just does. We have a mind that has an incredible storehouse. I forget how many, what do we get? We get billions or trillions? Hello. I don't know about the gigs, but I know one thing. All of that memory we have in every cell, synapses and neuron in our body encompasses our entire being, will fire off when you do that list. And you're sitting there being angry and hurt, you get nauseous, then you go eat cookies. Oh wait, that's me. Yeah, hello, I just have to tell the truth, I just go find that cookie, that's it. I feel justified. I said, that was tough. That was a hard moment, I need that cookie. No. Give me the cookie. I'm
Say it, sister, say
Yo.
it. Tell it, sister.
Testimony time. So also, when you come into grace, you also come into an incredible humor that's really different. You're no longer using humor to hurt, you're using it to love and heal. And it's a wonderful way to go about life. It works. So I always bring a list. I bring all these pages. I put it in big print this time, so I can actually read one of these.
You're not gonna follow a script?
I'm trying.
She didn't
This
bring
one?
her glasses.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm gonna maybe do one if I can find it.
See, I knew it.
There it is. Whoa.
Ta-da!
Now, all of you are fuzzy, but I can read this. Okay. Okay, grace is your friend. I'm just gonna read that. That's all I'm gonna say about it. We're gonna move on. Also,
I was wondering if it took 3 pages to say that.
no, there's 12.
Oh.
Yes, there's 12. I was serious about this. Okay, let me do one more about grace. If I just toss these on the floor, I bet you'd work better. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna go all the way back here and see what it says, because I want to do at least one of these things. Grace isn't always in place. Sometimes we lose our grace, but we can return to it. The key is awareness and a desire to restore harmony and inner peace. So if you want to have peace in your life, in your day, in your night, going to bed, you will sit down and say, what is it that I am holding on to here that maybe happened in my day? Somebody said, someone didn't say. You see, grace isn't always about what was said. It's that if you're expecting for someone to say something to you, and they don't compliment you, kindness, tell you how great you are, or that I love you for the 50th time that day, if you're not getting that, and you're upset about it, you have lost your grace. And you can come back to that by recognizing the fact that you lost it. Because you wanted someone outside of you to give you something that you really ought to give yourself. All right, let me try one more. Okay, we'll try to see if this one makes sense. Grace is navigating the dreams in your life. Your dreams are ongoing. So do not see your life as free from those around you. Everything is connected. It's like a movie. It's a drama. We are connected. It is learning how to see, to know, and respond to the lives around you, to these dramas and these dreams and whatever you want to call them, episodes, through grace. And this is a way in which we can make a difference in our lives. And this is through the process that we can forgive. You see, forgiveness comes in a lot in my life. Because stuff comes up. I thought it was gone. You wake up and there it is. You say, oh my goodness. Went to sleep perfectly fine. So, when we come into grace, we can forgive not because we should, but because we feel it. See, there's a difference. Shoulds don't work very well for me. Like, I should not have that cookie. That just does not work. And some of you know what I'm talking about. But when I say to myself, I'm feeling really good right now, and I tell myself it's perfectly fine that I do not have that cookie. That's different than feeling like I should have it to compensate for the fact that I do not feel good. You see, so when I let go and I forgive myself, through simple words, it's not always I forgive the world. I've tried that. And you know what? You can. You really can forgive everything. Past lives, this life, last 5 minutes, you can. But when you do so, do not expect to get something in return. You see, that's the catch. I forgave them and they didn't forgive me. Well, okay. You forgave them, that's all that counts. What someone else wants to continue with, that's their choice. So grace is a choice. I choose to forgive. I choose to practice forgiveness daily. And that's the difference between being free, staying free, and feeling trapped, and feeling caught, feeling angry. I had someone say to me a few days ago, because I was talking to them about an incident that had happened, and I lost my grace. And it had a psychological impact on me enough that it added on to what I was going through physically. So I talked to them about it. It came up because he asked me, he said, did something come up? Anyway, I'm talking to my doctor. And I said, yes. And it was about race. It came up. I was walking home from the dentist. I had this experience. And the experience was, I saw a young black man coming, and I said to myself, he will not speak to me. He will not acknowledge I'm here. Everyone else had acknowledged I was there and said, hi, hello, how are you going? And when he got close to me, he veered his head away and walked like this, so he did not see me. That bugged me. And I've had this happen before in Santa Cruz. Okay, that bothered me. And I said, what was that all about? I am here. He did not acknowledge me, and that bothered me. That sat up inside me and triggered a lot of old memories of having had that experience in Santa Cruz with African Americans. So I'm just telling you my truth here. So I reclaimed my grace. And as I reclaimed my grace, I started to feel better and better and better. And that is because I let him go. I didn't keep him. I didn't keep the experience. So you have to understand, it doesn't matter where it comes from. You come from places where you don't think it's gonna come from. This thing that trips you off. So it's important to get back on track as soon as you can when you truthfully look at yourself through introspection and say, what set this off? And then you realize, oh my gosh, I was just walking home from a good dental experience, you know? And this happens. And this like shut my whole day because I saw it coming, but I did not want it to be true. Had I accepted the voice that said to me, he will not acknowledge you, I would not have had that experience. Grace was talking to me and I ignored Grace. Okay? This is why I share these things like this. We are works in progress. And so I just wanted to share that with you today, that when you find yourself going against you, that's because you're looking outside you for the solutions. It's inside. And to forgive yourself is very important. I forgive me. I'm telling you often. And I let go. And you can talk to the soul of grace within. You can say to the soul of grace within me, I thank you for being with me. I thank you for guiding me. I thank you for supporting me and helping me to see the path to take for me each day, each moment. I thank you for shining the light on, and I thank you, and I feel so blessed. We can do that. And when we do that, that means that we're sincere about letting go of something we don't need anymore. It's not mine to carry. You know, I'll tell you in a minute. It's heavy, put it down. But people go around carrying it. I carried it, it was heavy. And it created within me feedback. It came back on me. I'm fine now, but I wasn't then. That lasted for about 5 or 6 hours into the night with me going through that. So, I have a message from our beloved Glory. She sent a message, and because I had told her what I was going to be doing. So I'm going to be using an iPhone, can you believe this? She wants everyone here to know that she loves us. That she is on the beach in meditation this morning. Spirit says forgiveness and grace brings the balance to life in all forms. Forgiveness is scary, but imperative to receiving grace. Giving is a letting go, and grace is pure honey for the healing of your soul. I am sure this message will find a place in today's message. I love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, are there any questions? I'm open to it.
How do you give grace to yourself? How do you forgive yourself?
Well, how I do it is the best way to.
I mean, other than a cookie.
Other than a cookie?
The whole box of cookies.
This is a good question here. And a cup of hot chocolate, yeah. How do I give grace to myself is for me to remember that when I am sitting there feeling bad, that something has happened that wasn't there a few minutes ago. And I want to know what it is. And then when I take a look at what it is, I go back inside myself and I really say to my soul, I address my soul, good morning. Good morning to my soul, to that small, still voice within me. I ask for your guidance and forgiveness because I am not listening to you. And you guide me, and you protect me, and you show me the way to go. And I thank you for that every day. So I let my soul know that I stopped listening. And what that does, it helps to bring me back to my grace, because the voice that has guided me in this life to some difficult things was not my mind talking. My mind was telling me that to keep doing the things that I was doing. I have a saying that says, our minds will keep us doing things, even if it takes our lives. Our minds will keep us doing things, even if it takes our lives. It's an amazing thing when you think about it. But grace, my soul has never done that. It's never directed me to use this or do that or drive like this or act like this way or do risky things or all of that. My soul and grace never do that. But my mind, if I'm not careful, the mind will have you doing things that can harm you and others and even take your life. And so I've learned a difference for me that makes sense. It's when I go against it that I hurt deeply, to the point that it can have physical ramifications. It can have psychological ramifications, emotional and mental. It can create problems in families and friends, work. I had a person tell me that their mind told them to quit their job and with no job in sight. I said, you're gonna quit your job? And it was one of these great paying jobs, and being a single mom, taking care of her son and paying, she's doing great. I said, why? Because I cannot work with that person anymore who is my supervisor. I said, do you have another job? No. Oh, or what about getting another job before you quit this one? No. I said, then you have to decide. I gave her some insights. She worked them, she applied them. Next time I heard, she said, that supervisor, by the way, got removed because so many people were complaining, and I have a great job, and the next supervisor that came in, she says, is absolutely wonderful. But she had to come back to her grace, because she had lost it to her mind is telling her to go get on the unemployment roll with no job in sight in a market where she was not going to easily find work that was going to pay her at the scale she was to have a comfortable life for her and her son. That's mine. Grace says, be silent, be still, right? We all know that be still. I love that be still piece. Be still, right? And when we be still, what do we hear? We will hear that small voice talking to us. Okay? So we got maybe one more, maybe not?
Yeah,
Anything else?
Kim had one.
Because you know I get all
Kim
excited.
had one.
Kim?
I didn't understand about the African American male not looking at you as racism. I didn't understand that.
No, it wasn't racism.
Oh,
It wasn't a racism, it was denying that I was there. What it is that there is sometimes those individuals who do not, for whatever reason, want to acknowledge that another black person is there. There is a sense, we used to say, it made them feel special that they were the only black person there. It has happened in work, it has happened in all kinds of places. And I've had this experience several times in Santa Cruz. So it's not a form, it is a form of racism, but it's really not exactly so. It's kind of a tricky thing, but it is one of simply not acknowledging you because it takes away from them the need to be important. It does happen.
It's not just the blacks that do that.
Yes,
I've had that happen to me at work.
yes.
It's people.
People do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we all have experiences. It's just that I have these experiences.
Right.
You have those experiences. We have experiences based on the fact that I'm a full busted black woman. And you know, you would think by now people would be used to seeing breasts. You really would. Right?
They're not.
They're not. It's an amazing thing to me. It's like there's this Well, go wear that then. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. So there are all these things, I agree,
Right.
that we encompass. But some of them will trigger me differently.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's the energy behind it.
Yes,
Yeah.
The story.
yes.
I was walking down the street with Paul one day, I don't know, you'll remember this.
Yes.
And we're going to his place, and this young woman was walking toward us, and she had her purse on her right side. And she saw us coming, so she shifted to the left side, so it was away from me. And then she walked toward the building. And Paul goes, why did she do that? I said, because I'm black.
Yes, and you might steal her purse.
And he goes, what? I said, she thinks I'm gonna take her purse.
Yes.
And Paul, he was appalled. I don't care. I mean, it happens all the time. And so it's just like, whatever, you know.
Yes.
You can't change people.
What-
No, you can't.
What was it Byron used to say when he'd walk into Macy's? Didn't he work at Macy's and yet
Yeah,
they,
our friend Byron worked at Macy's, and he'd go on his days off to, buy something. And the minute he walked in, a security guard followed him.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Yes.
followed him all through the Macy's.
well, you could really screw with that, huh?
Yeah. And he-
Pick stuff up, put it down.
And he would just turn around and confront them and then say, I'm an employee and I'm gonna report you. But it's happened every time. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I've had that in Santa Cruz and other places. I walk in, they wanna know if I need help. I'm watching everyone that walk in is not black, nobody asks them if they need help.
Exactly.
I have a backpack and they're looking at that.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, Shirley, do you really think that I would be coming in here in the middle of the day with a backpack on and you can notice me as one of the few blacks in Santa Cruz and I'm gonna go steal something? Seriously? Well, that's my logic, but it has nothing to do with that person. I'm shopping. I got the money to pay for it, I'm shopping. I'm not here to steal. But yet, there are these misconceptions that are based on the way people think and perceive and see. And so therefore, I can be coming from grace all I want, but I'm gonna have to deal with the fact that I live in a world that doesn't.
Exactly.
We live in a world that doesn't. Whether it is color, size, age, I had locks, I had a lot of stuff going on with that. Now that I don't have locks, people can't see the breast and sometimes they wanna think I'm a guy. Now that's a big one right there. I'm like, okay, what happened, what
So
happened?
will you stand up then?
No, I'm standing up. I'm standing up. Of course, once I wasn't. But it's an amazing thing. So we take a look at all this stuff and it says, I must come back to my grace, because if not, I am going to say something that I will now have to deal with. Grace has kept me from telling people where to go.
And not in a good way either.
Yes, and Dottie is also telling me where to go.
She's telling you when to go.
She gave me the time.
No, that's for terrific.
Thank you, Dottie. Everyone, I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you.